Mercedes-Benz makes dozens of different vehicles, from hatchbacks to sports cars to buses. This is kind of a mix of all of those. It's the 2021 GLE Coupe, the strangest Benz you can buy that defies all logic. It's fast but heavy. It's big but not roomy, and it's a hybrid. In return, the GLE Coupe delivers some of the most cutting-edge technology you'll find in any car, anywhere. Want the best prices and the most informative car reviews on the internet? CarGurus is the place. Our YouTube channel is the space. Hit the subscribe button. For 2021, Mercedes made it less weird and more like the GLE, the midsize SUV that was just redesigned for 2020. The grille's trapezoid opening is inverted, the headlights are squintier, the roofline a little lower, and the taillights slimmer. But don't worry, there's nothing normal about it. This is the AMG 53. Now, all GLE coupes come as an AMG, so you're already getting a nice upgrade to start. You can tell by the grille, all those big vertical slats. This one in particular has 22-inch wheels, must have, blacked out trim, more black on the exhaust tips, and that rear, let me tell you, it's really big and wide. When you open up the hatchback, it opens up really tall, 23 cubic feet of space behind the rear seats, 61 with them folded. Now, the more I look at this car, the more I think of those guys on Instagram trying to hawk protein powder and whatever other athletic stuff they're trying to get away with. It's all broad-shouldered and chunky for no good reason. I mean, really, I just can't get over how insane this car looks. What do you think?
The chunky theme is inside too. And let me say right now, I love the black on red spec on my test car. It's such a beast.
Everything is big and thick in here, like these grab handles. These oversized headrests that really block your view.
There's super wide screens with this vent element that's not a vent.
There's a thick micro suede steering wheel. The only letdown is these thin and kind of flimsy turn signal stalks.
Visibility is terrible from the side and rear, and the rear seats aren't that roomy with this roof coming down. But this car is all about expression, not practicality. The newest Mercedes interiors, like on this GLE Coupe, go for rectangles and rounded rectangles rather than circles. Look at the air vents and seat controls. They're all new.
Quality is exceptional, as it should be for $108,000 as tested. There's impeccable detailing everywhere, from the micro suede, the leather, the stitching, this aluminum, the ambient lighting you can reconfigure, and these displays. They're really high res and some of the most crisp I've seen in a new car.
There's screens on the steering wheel. You can control driving modes with this one on the right and other vehicle shortcuts on the left that you can reprogram. The instrument panel is a work of robotic art. The AMG models feature a design layout called Super Sport that's just as crazy as Japanese concept cars were in the 80s. You can get full screen maps, and you can control separately the left, center, and right portion of the instrument panel. On the head-up display, it's the same thing, left, right, and center controls. It's the biggest and most complex way to show this information. We've already shown you MBUX, the newest infotainment system, in our 2020 GLC review. Hit the link below. But there's more. There's a feature called Interior Assistant. It uses sensors in the overhead console to see where my finger is, and it will enlarge the icon appropriately. You can also use assigned gestures for shortcuts, so 2 fingers does massage, and on top of that, I've got 8 features to choose from. Then, I can also change the seat heating balance, whether I want more on the cushion or the backrest. It also heats the armrest. And there's also a thing called Seat Kinetics. Not so sure what that means, but kind of feels like I'm in a Zumba or Silver Sneakers class. I don't know, it's kind of cool. All these things are overkill, but I think you'll learn to love them. With all this technology, it's kind of exhausting trying to relax in this car. But speaking of exhaust, there's one more thing we gotta do. Hold down either of these paddles and press the engine start button. Makes the exhaust louder upon startup. That's my kind of feature. Now for the fun part. Bye, haters. When you buy a GLE Coupe, you skip the GLE's basic powertrains.
No ordinary 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder engines here. The AMG is the base model. So the AMG 53 that I'm driving is actually more advanced technically than the AMG 63S. That's faster and more expensive. I'll tell you why. There's a 3-liter inline-6 with both regular turbocharging and an electric supercharger. That electric supercharger lets the lag just go away because it's powered by a belt starter generator that's attached to the engine, that's powered by a 48-volt lithium-ion battery running on a completely separate electrical circuit. So what does that mean? Well, by itself, 429 horsepower, 384 pound-feet of torque. And when you step on it, another 21 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque for brief seconds at a time from that belt starter generator. It's just a really complex, very crazy hybrid system that is designed to save fuel and emissions, but not give up anything in terms of performance and response. And overall, it works. It's just a really convoluted way of getting there. So in this hybrid system, Mercedes replaces the alternator, the accessory belt drive, and the traditional starter motor, all with that belt starter generator that's attached to it. What does that all mean? Well, you can read the full review at CarGurus.com. I promise I will explain the technical details of it. All you really need to know from watching me do this is that it feels explosively fast with just 6 cylinders. And remember, this is only the 6. It's not the 8 that makes over 600 horsepower the old-fashioned way. So probably at about now that we have the performance exhaust. That's an option on the AMG 53. I think it's a must-have. It's almost a little too quiet for my taste. I know I always say that with exhaust. I seem to never be happy completely, but this one is. Compared to the 43 series AMG models that were out before this, it's just slightly smoother. Maybe that's something you want. For my $1,200+ on a performance exhaust, I want more, but it's still pretty good. I like the popping. I like that a lot. There's several brake choices you can have on a GLE Coupe, from the standard to the carbon ceramics. This is the in-between, and they're pretty good. They've got a strong feel, but I don't really like the initial pedal feel. It's kind of soft, which I want a harder bite. And at the stop, it's just a little hard to modulate. Not a deal breaker, but I'd like that tuned a little better. Handling and steering, as you'd expect, top notch. A vehicle that's this big, this heavy, high off the ground, doesn't seem to matter when you're in the GLE Coupe. It just sticks. It's just incredible. It reminds me in many ways of the feel I had when I was in the AMG GT Roadster that I reviewed not that long ago. And now that the leaves are changing, well, I'd rather be in this SUV. Definitely. The ride quality, it's pretty good for a performance-oriented vehicle that's this hardcore. I mean, you got 22-inch tires with really thin sidewalls. Ordinarily, it should ride like that. And to be honest, that's what Mercedes AMG models of all types tended to ride like just a few years ago. But then their engineers realized, hey, I guess Americans don't live off the Nürburgring, and I don't live on a racetrack either. And I've noticed a big difference with all of their cars. They're just a lot more compliant in everyday situations when the road isn't perfect. So the car doesn't really get unsettled anymore. And if you have a really good road, you can flick this little toggle switch here or switch up on here, change the suspension dampers. There's active anti-roll bars if you order those. There's also individual wheel control if you have another option. So the suspensions are just out of this world and make this 5,000-pound vehicle handle and dance like a little ballerina. I mean, it's incredible how capable this car is. Here's another example of over-engineering. The air suspension can raise the GLE Coupe 2 inches, and there's a sand mode in case you're
driving in the desert?
Honestly, with these tires, you wouldn't make it off a beach with this thing.
As the people in Austin, Texas, and Portland, Oregon like to say, the GLE Coupe keeps it weird. It's in a very small category of vehicles like the BMW X6, Porsche Cayenne Coupe, and Audi Q8. Keep in mind that Mercedes has normal GLE models that accelerate and handle just as well as this coupe. That gives you plenty of choice, more value, and more fuel economy. The GLE Coupe starts at $76,500 for the AMG 53. The AMG 63S starts at $116,000. There's no way to justify a vehicle like this, and that's the point of it.
Whatever you want to call it, SUV, sports car, crossover, the GLE Coupe delivers a unique experience among new cars. I like the style of the 2021 model. Mercedes has done a lot of changes inside and out to make the whole design feel more cohesive. I don't love the design, and for my money, I'd rather have one of the real AMG sports cars. But what do you think? Do high-performance SUV coupes make any sense? Read the full review at CarGurus.com and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.